to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am your host for this lovely evening. As I talk with a toothpick in my mouth, I am joined by three great guys. Punchinello is here.
Hey everybody.
Chira is here.
What's up?
And our special guest, Jonathan Sanders. You may remember him way back from, I think it was like episode 196, 197, when we had you on for...
Yeah, I think that's about
right. 296. 296.
Yes.
Yeah, well, two. Yeah.
Yeah, because we hit 300. We hit 300 the week after All Mid happened. Jonathan helped put together the All Mid Collegiate Invitational that we joined on October 3rd, and we posted some interviews from it. We posted the live podcast and all that, and we asked John to come back on here and be a guest on the podcast after that was completed, and we finally been able to wrangle him together and get him on. So hi, John.
Hey guys, it's great to be back on the show. Glad you guys had fun at the show. It was great to hear from everybody after the event, and just kind of get everybody's introspective on how things went.
Did you get to sit down with like the wrap up after the fact? Did you hear all of our good feedback and our
Yes, yeah, and that was a lot of fun
feedback?
to listen to. Yeah, just like hearing you guys just constantly going on about like all the crazy things that were going on.
Yeah, we mentioned on the show, but we were so exhausted after that event that we were all sitting at the bar pretty much falling asleep into our beers.
Yeah,
we were pretty tired. we were pretty pooped.
Yeah, I totally understand.
So, John, just to put you on the spot here, do we have anything else new coming up? Like
from All Mid?
For All Mid, yeah.
Nothing just yet. Most of the stuff that I'm working on right now is with the Miami University Esports Club. But right now we don't have a whole lot of to talk about from All Mid.
Okay. Well, I want to put you on the spot, see what was happening, because we are interested in continuing to work with you guys as the future rolls on. I know we had talked about that, privately. I talked to Stelany about that. I know they're all watching. So hi, everybody out there in podcast land who's watching this.
Hi, Stel.
We are bringing you on, one, so that you can, sit on the podcast and enjoy the night, and two, so we can talk about patch 5.21, because that hit today. Now, if you are looking for the preseason rundown from the Trinity Force podcast, I will tell you that will not happen until Monday. So episode 307 is when we're going to talk about that information, because hopefully it hits the PBE within the next couple of days, and I know that I will be on the PBE this weekend trying to play with a whole bunch of that stuff, and I'm going to give these guys some of my information too and tell them if they have time to jump on as well. Tons of preseason changes. Everyone's super excited about it, but the live game still goes on, and we have to talk about patch 5.21. So we're going to jump right into that right now and, do the honors. Hey, John?
Yeah?
Do you have the patch notes in front of you?
Actually, I do.
Oh, hey, why don't you talk about Caitlyn and Cho'Gath and tell us, why don't you run us down and tell us what happened with the changes?
Well, just looking through Caitlyn, as they put it so quaintly, they fixed a basic attack bug. They, from what I read this on Reddit. They said that this has been a long time bug that they have been trying to fix for ages, but they weren't able to reproduce it consistently, so they have not been able to fix it yet. So that is now fixed. Now sometimes her auto attacks will actually go off and actually do damage when they're supposed to hit.
You would see the bullet make contact and no damage would be done.
Yeah, or it would be desynced, as they put it here.
Mm-hmm. And what was the main factor of this problem that was occurring?
Lulu, of course.
Oddly specific for something that could remove the main purpose of a champion being in a match if you can't get auto attacks off on an AD carry.
They said it has something to do specifically with picks. Probably something to do with her shield. Her shield, as you all know, applies picks to allied champions.
Now, I still had a desync issue when I last played Caitlyn. I think it was last week. I played Caitlyn and I still desynced, and there was no Lulu in the game. So I'm not getting my hopes too high for this.
Yeah.
We know Caitlyn's your favorite champion to play, right? Like your favorite AD carry, at least. Or is it just
Put
your
a lot
best?
of time into her.
It's just my best.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, John, keep us going. Cho'Gath.
All right. Well, Cho'Gath, this is a change I'm pretty excited about just because I love playing Cho'Gath in the jungle, and just walking out into the lanes as a massive, massive scary beast is quite rewarding. So specifically, what's going on here is now on champion kills, you don't get 1 stack, but you get 2 stacks of feast. So this, I'm hoping, will kind of help give him some of that early game that he could use from, getting stacks, getting big, getting bigger quicker.
Well, and this also since they changed the ability so that you can actually have a shorter cooldown if you kill a minion with it, the cooldown actually isn't quite as long.
Yeah, if you kill something with it.
Yeah, if you kill somebody that isn't a champion with it, it's a shorter cooldown. So it made it so you could actually stack faster if you were jungling or wherever.
I thought it was also on champion kills, like as long as you're killing something with the ultimate. Like as long as that's like what's
you get it
doing the
reset
final
on
blow.
you.
Yeah, you should get it reset. It's just it's much easier to do on minions, I guess, is the best way to put it. So
Well,
you're more consistently getting that shorter cooldown if you were murdering something with an ability that it's typically pretty easy to murder something with.
This is a really good quality of life buff, Cho'Gath. I mean, it goes on. It says killing a minion or monster at max stacks will now heal Cho'Gath for 90, 120, 150, doubled for enemy champions. These are all quality of life buffs for Cho'Gath because for a very long time there, any champion that had some kind of stacking buff, whether it be Nasus, Vhagar, whatever it was, could have a very hard time getting back into the game if they were ever shut down at any point or killed. And Cho'Gath needed a way to get back into the game if he wasn't already ahead. Like, I hate to use Feast or Famine with Cho'Gath, not because of the R, but I mean, he kind of was in a fact that if you had 3 stacks, you walked back in the lane, you had to decide, do I use my next R to eat a minion to wait for 60 seconds, and then they changed that, so now you have 30 seconds rather than the 60, and now I'm in a team fight, I can use it to execute and stay alive longer, so it gives a little bit more of depth of playing, to play Cho'Gath a little bit more in-depthly. I can't think of how to word it, but you know what I'm trying to say. These
changes to me they don't help Cho'Gath come back as much as they do help him snowball more, in my opinion. I mean, if he gets a kill in lane, all of a sudden he's got 2 stacks. He gets the max stacks faster. And when he's at max stacks and he's building in the lane, now he heals every time he kills him.
That's exactly it. Now let's get into a position where you end up using Feast to secure a contentious dragon. You go to kill dragon, teams are fighting, you end up actually killing dragon with Feast, they're hitting you or something, you get a chunk of health back, you're in a big, important fight, you get a kill, you get a little nice chunk of health back. That's free health for something just for using the ability appropriately. That's awesome. So this is a nice buff in that. Feast just gets better overall. It gets better for killing. It got better for killing minions because it's easier to kill minions and you were able to get half a cooldown on your Feast for it. And now when you're killing champions with it, you're getting more stacks. So there isn't really a bad way to use this. It got better all around.
Yeah, he's slowly getting stronger.
And again, going back to when you're behind, does this really incentivize saving your Feast for a duel and trying to last somebody if you're behind? Or are you still going to get those max stacks just so you have the health to duel your opponent who's ahead of you?
It could go either way.
I feel like I guess it depends on how close the lane is, right? If the lane's totally lost, you're still going to be using Feast to get the max stacks just so you can survive.
Sure.
But I mean, if the duels are close, then I guess maybe you would save Feast to try and get those double stacks.
With the cooldown being half, though, on taking a minion, I guess it just depends on where your jungler is, how much pressure you feel you're going to have from your jungler, how close you feel that the engages will be. I mean, that went a lot before with having the half stack anyway, was deciding when to come back up and if that extra health is worthwhile. So, like I said, it kind of gives you more to think about, more of that chess mentality with Cho'Gath rather than I have to use it to get big and then I just hope it's up in the duel.
To kill something as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
now you might want to save it
Well,
occasionally.
it gives you more choices. So you can be like, hey, do you want to snowball? If you do, you can go and try and use it more on enemy champions to get that kill. Do you just want to get big as quick as possible? Is it going to be easier for you to just pop it on minions every chance you get? Like you actually have to make a decision now, but there isn't really a bad decision to make because overall the ability got better, at least over the course of the changes to this ability over the past year.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious if this makes Cho'Gath a little bit more, like, it's a little more advantageous to play him out of the jungle now, or a little bit more appealing to play him out of the jungle, just because if you hit 6, you're able to feast. You're able to feast the kill, but at the same time, if you were popping people up, they were probably dead anyway. Just the way that the hard CC and silence works with Cho'Gath. So, honestly, with this Cho'Gath change, I'm looking at it as more of we're moving into the preseason. They're bringing a top lane minion into the Baron pit. Maybe this is their way of incentivizing playing Cho'Gath to, force you to use the cooldown to, get it back. You see what I'm saying? Where I'm going with this?
Well,
like,
and it's not forget that he deals true damage to
Whatever he
monsters
hits
and
with it.
minions. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's like the appeal of playing him in the jungle. So,
Which actually just made me think that I wonder if Cho'Gath top might make a comeback in the preseason just because of that extra minion up there and having the Baron secure ability. Who knows?
Well, that's true in that it was always, if you had a champion like Cho'Gath or Nunu, you wouldn't.
Not.
Like the nice thing with Nunu, you could do objectives when the enemy team maybe couldn't because you had 2 smites. It's not the best to go for certain objectives when there's a Nunu around because he can just double up on smite. It was always sort of the same thing with Cho'Gath too. So you can still see that Cho'Gath who you take, flash, you take teleport, and you basically get a baked-in smite in his kit as long as you can run up to something, so that your jungler and Cho'Gath could take that new top minion that's going to be released eventually out very quickly, or he might even be able to take it himself. Who knows how strong this monster is even going to be when they release it.
Where's my remind me bot for this, where I can say, remind me in 3 weeks or whatever it is, try Cho'Gath.
Yeah.
Please no. They already buffed Mundo. I don't want to see mega tanks in the top lane again. I'm spoiled now. Top lane is so much fun now.
You remember when we played Punch? I had to play the mega tanks, and it was the worst top lane experience ever.
I don't know what you're talking about. You say that was the worst top lane experience. You still play Maokai. Like,
I love Maokai though.
He's
so
in
much
there.
Fun.
Yeah,
you can't at least. But it also depends on your opponent. I mean, if you're a tank and your opponent's a tank, then it's just wet noodling each other for 20 minutes, and then all right, I think we're supposed to team fight now. Let's go do that.
Hey, and Zach's coming back a little bit too. He's really good again. So it is
mega tanks.
No.
Well, hey, you can say what you want about not wanting mega tanks to show back up. Champions like Fiora, as long as they're at the current power level, are still going to be competitive picks because you
Fiora's
can
fun
do
as
way
hell.
you can do way more
love
with
the player.
them if you get the opportunity to.
With this patch, we are sort of previewing the preseason because there's going to be teleport changes coming in with the preseason. They've already said that, so mega tanks might make a comeback just because they farm forever, or they might not ever come out because they can't get back to lane as quickly as they could before. Who knows what change is going to happen, right? So
right.
Teleport could completely demolish this idea that we have of mega tanks coming back. So, John, take us into Gangplank, please.
All right. Well, with Gangplank, they've lowered his base health by about 50.
51.
51. What a oddly specific number.
Yeah. Vito, please. And they've also lowered his health growth stat. Woo, I guess.
They've increased it.
They increased
by
it by 3.
No, increased it. I can't read.
You're fine, man.
So you start lower health, but you gain that health back over time.
Yeah,
slowly.
he's still getting pretty tanky late game, but
yeah. Well, one of his problems was Gangplank was such a good flex pick because he had such high life. When you have such high base stats of like 630 life walking into a lane, plus Q, the parlay of getting the mana refreshed so you never run out of mana, makes him such a giant lane. Anybody who gets free stats, essentially, at any point in the game is just always going to be more powerful than anybody else. And free stats can go from anywhere from mana to life to extra life to bonus.
So how exactly was Q changed to no longer give free stats?
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of Q, he no longer refunds mana on kills. But they did lower the mana cost down by 10 mana.
By
so
10.
I feel that's kind of a nerf for him.
It's definitely. It makes it so you can't just forever farm with Q and never worry about how much of that delicious blue bar is still in your
tank. It's going to take longer
tank.
to upgrade his ult, too, because of that.
Right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, if he's worried about getting his ult upgraded, yeah, he's not going to have as much mana. But
Silver Serpent stacks.
Like, I don't know, you kind of have to trade off.
That Q parlay change is such a significant change that I see Gangplank falling off the face of the earth just because of that one change. Yeah, it's because, like you said, you can't farm up your Q stacks as quickly as
you have to choose. Now you're going to have to choose in a much more difficult situation. Do you want to? You're going to really have to pick and choose when you decide to use parlay.
It's like old Gangplank.
Yeah, to hit the enemy champion, because now you can't just, oh, hey, the minion's low. I need part of my passive to get that coin. I'm going to just parlay it. I kill it. Whatever. It's no mana cost. As soon as you have the opportunity to queue and parlay the enemy champion, if he shows up in a good spot, you can do that without having to think about it. Now you can no longer do that. If you're trying to get your, the first portion of your Silver Serpent stacked up so you can upgrade your ult, it's going to be harder to. You use any mana at all, that you might even have to buy something to help you get mana back early. Are we going to see some weird stuff with that?
Well, probably not.
Sheen.
It'll just be Sheen.
And Sheen fixes a lot of that stuff, because
it goes back to old. Sorry, Chira, but it goes back to old Gangplank, where he played in the top lane. A lot of people would not max Q just because they would use Q to farm the gold in the last hits, and they would max W or E instead and trade. Now there were people that would max Q for the harass. I mean, you kind of had your idea between the three. Now, I'm sure you're still maxing parlay for the damage. Actually, I don't actually know what people were maxing now that I think about it. Were they maxing parlay? No, were they maxing barrels and not parlay? I think I want to say they were probably maxing barrels and not parlay.
I can look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, please do, because I don't want to feel like I'm wrong on that one. But either way, when you're not refunding mana cost, even if you're not giving them 5 mana back a kill, you're forcing the person to run out of gas, like they say here, and they're forced to make decisions in lane that hamper the ability, or hamper the long run of what the champion can do, and that's stacking the Silver Serpents to drop that, make a game chasing ult.
They're still maxing Q.
Okay. I mean, not like you're not going to max Q, but just the mana probably goes up with every level of it too, doesn't it?
I don't think so. I think the mana stays static. That's something I could be wrong about, but
hey, that's what we have the internet for. Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Gangplank, mana stays static at 50.
Yep.
It's just the damage goes up.
Yeah, but even still, you're not going to be building a major mana item on. You'll get Sheen, so you get an extra, 6 shots off with that. This is a big issue, because it hurts a lot of what he was necessarily gained in free stats. It comes back down to free stats. It's just free stats are so nice when you have them, and when they're gone, there's this gaping hole in your chest where it's like, shit, did I just parlay myself instead of the enemy?
God damn it! I thought the Claude was fucking off this.
Will the orange make this K?
Find out next time.
All right, let's talk about Kassadin, John.
All right, with Kassadin, they have lowered the cooldown on Netherblade and have raised the AP ratio up by 0.1. So he's getting a little bit of a buff. So
it's a lever.
I think they've as they put it here, we don't want to go overboard, but Kassadin buffs. So I think, that's always scary.
The ever terrifying Kassadin buffs.
It's that lane change Kassadin where he's using another blade to last hit under turret because he's generally forced out of lane, so they're trying to give him a little bit more power. Now, does that extra spike of maybe 1 or 2 minions, depending on the player type, make a difference with Kassadin? Excuse me. I don't know. This is probably one of the only champions in this whole entire thing where I can't say whether or not I see this change of Kassadin pushing him overboard. Because I've seen Kassadins do really well, but it's because they start to snowball really hard, and they're not maxing Netherblade as it is. So
I feel like the key to having success with Kassadin is not so much farming a lot during the laning phase, but just roaming and getting lucky and getting a last hit.
Right.
I think the key is roaming as opposed to just farming.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with him is, I mean, he doesn't do a lot of damage until he gets those items. So that's why I said he kind of has to get lucky when he's roaming, because he has to actually, the gank has to be successful. He probably has to follow his jungler in with the gank.
Yeah, Phil in chat says we might see Lich Bane coming out of this, and I just want to say, Phil, this is coming from the guy who argued with Bao Bao about the build order of Kassadin in the game, and then realized he was wrong after he saw one player build that build. So I don't know if I'm going to listen to you on a Kassadin change. No. I had to. He said he was like, some Kassadins will build Chalice, and Bao was like, yeah, no.
He's like, one Kassadin did that ever, and that's the game that you watched. That was very funny.
That was a good time.
Yep. When was the last time that they changed W? Because there'd been talks that they were going to end up changing his W for a little while, but
I thought they did the last time they touched him.
I thought so too, but I'm trying to find here in the change list exactly what it is. Yeah, because all I'm seeing is Riftwalk changes, and then like way back in 4.12, they changed the cooldown of W from 6 seconds, what it used to be, to being 9 seconds.
Are we in a good spot where Kassadin is actually seeing changes and buffs?
I don't know, is that good?
I think we're all still scarred from the time that Kassadin was so fucking overpowered that it feels weird to give that champion buffs.
I mean,
it's going to become... You can go ahead.
No, it's all you, man.
I was going to say, like, I feel like this is going to slowly become another, better nerf Irelia kind of deals where...
Better buff Kassadin, slowly.
Yeah.
It's going to be better buff Kassadin.
Yeah,
until better buff Kassadin.
Can we make that a thing now?
And just
BBK.
I think that has to be a thing now. Is better buff Kassadin rather than better
better buff. You know what?
No, it's really better fix Azir is probably the
right. Better fix Azir.
I don't know. I don't know.
Azir got to change.
Azir bug fixes. Yeah, need more of those.
We say that, and he's not in this list of patch notes.
I was about to say, guys, I don't think he's actually on this patch note. Like, is that like the first
time?
They
couldn't fit it in. Too many bugs.
Yeah, it was too big of a bug for them to fix, so they couldn't fit it into this patch.
They're shelving it till the next patch.
I don't know if that's good that we have patch humor. You can tell we've been doing this.
Well, there's a lot of patches that have been coming out, so they've had some trends.
That's funny.
No, with the Kassadin changes, I wouldn't mind seeing him back a little bit, just because I remember seeing Kassadin all the time, and it almost got to the point where you get so used to seeing Kassadin, you learn how to deal with it because you're used to seeing it, so you just try your best not to let him get to monster mode status, and you get good just dealing with him early because certain people are like, I'm going to get fed, and then play stupid and die for it. It's great. But
I'm going to be Faker.
Yeah. This champion does scare me that he gives. What was that, Adam?
I am Faker. No, wait. No, what is? I am Dade. Come on, I play.
No, no. If you can't play Brangar, you're not playing Kassadin. Get out.
Still harping on him for.
Yep. I'll never stop.
No, you can't.
But no. I would like to see some Kassadin buffs because I don't necessarily think that he's overwhelmingly powerful right now. Even when he gets going, there are plenty other mid laners that do more during the same points of the game and earlier in the game than Kassadin currently does. But with an ult like his, you have to be you're balanced on a knife's edge for a situation like this, where if they decide to buff too much, then you see nothing but Kassadins. And if they don't buff enough, then you see no Kassadin. And that's just how this champion's always been, even after the rework.
Which means they're going to rework him again.
Yeah.
Once they buff him a little bit more,
Skarner
and he becomes permabanned again. All right, let's rework Kassadin again.
Rework him.
But let's leave his cooldown at 6 seconds. That's good.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
All right. So this W changed from 6 seconds to 9 seconds, and then it's back down to 7. So it's effectively, over the course of time, actually only changed by a second since the initial release of new Kassadin.
We've also seen lots of other changes, including AP optimization changes and whatnot between that. So that does
There's been a lot.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's talk about Kindred, because the color-coded is probably the only piece in this patch, or in this notes, that matters. John, if you'd like to read that, please.
All right. Well, the mini-map icon, I'm sure you guys have seen it. Now they have changed it so that ally and enemy colors, allied Kindred, their her mark in the jungle camps will always be blue. Enemy kindreds will always be red. So,
Okay.
Thank God for that,
All right.
because I look at it and I'm
Yeah, I
like,
saw this and I
Shira,
was
did you
kind
do
of
that?
confused.
No, it's the enemies.
All right. Okay. We say that, but realistically, once the kindred hype of people trying to play this champion and try it out dies down, you're going to be seeing way less kindreds on both teams.
So you're
So-
either going to see red or blue.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because if you get in a game and you recognize that there's a kindred either on your team or on the enemy team, who the fuck cares what color it is?
What does this
It
ha-
only
what-
matters
It still
when
bothered
there's
me.
two kindreds in
It's
there.
still, yeah.
Yeah, it was still kind of confusing unless you were like strictly one of those people.
Red
who
is
have
danger.
points.
If Kindred's on my team and I see danger, that confuses me. Like,
Hey,
what? Is this
in
bad?
that same regard though, then they should just make every kindred mark in the enemy jungle danger to not bait kindreds into going over there and dying to trying to get a mark.
Yeah.
But they made it red and blue. Why did they make it blue and not purple? For colorblind people, why is it blue?
Well, I would think that it would change if you have the colorblind mode on. So it would
It does
probably
not.
be it doesn't. So it stays.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
play
So
with colorblind mode
I
on.
feel like that's an oversight on their part.
I don't know. They might change it again, just like they did with the UI. So
Right.
It's
I'm sure
because
somebody will
people are
be
going to
on
go this and go, Riot, why did you think about the colorblind? They're going to go, oh, right. We forgot about those people again. Like, as if they're like, as if colorblind people are segregated. Come on, Riot. Fix it.
Fix it.
it's not a big change.
Right.
Let's talk Mordekaiser. Because this is the
Okay.
change that I want to talk about because it took me some time today to figure it out.
This is Adam's favorite change, so much so that he asked if we understood what it even means the first thing when he talked to us before the show tonight.
And it took you a little bit though. It still took you a little bit talking through it to make sure you understood it. Like you can't just read it and go, "Oh, this is what it is." So,
Right.
Jonathan, W change, please.
All right, W changes. I'm just going to read this verbatim. Penalty for sharing experience on kill is now from 0% to 50%.
Now, you read these
All right,
patch
got it.
notes.
Move on.
Yeah, you read these patch notes, you're like, oh, okay, so he gets 50% of the experience. Well, 50% of what experience? So
Right.
I went on a mission today with Serial Box and myself, and I tweeted at which writer? Oh, right, Gizmo, Smash Gizmo. He's the person who made this change. And the way this works is that Mordekaiser was gaining 100% of the experience a monster or minion would give when he was in the duo lane if he last hit that minion. They've made the change, so now he only receives 83.6% of the experience a minion would give if he's in a duo lane, which is 17.5 roughly. Give me the points here because they kind of get rounded oddly. He loses 17.5% of the experience he would gain when he last hits a minion in a duo lane. That's 50% of the bonus he was gaining previously. Does that make sense? All I have to say is instead of gaining 100% experience when you hit a monster in a duo lane, you now gain 83.6% of the experience the monster would give in a duo lane. So essentially, you are leveling a little more slowly than you were before.
You're slightly losing out on a little less than a fifth of the bonus experience that you were getting.
Yes, because
please.
they originally gave the 100% experience off a minion that you last hit. Now that's important. If you don't last hit a minion and it just dies,
doesn't
you
matter.
and your partner gain 65.2% of the experience that minion would give. That's important to important distinction. So if you're not last hitting the minion, you were actually losing experience in the lane that you could have. Now, what was I going with this? Was that just last hit your minions? Is essentially what it is. Oh, I know what it was. It was because they gave him the 100% so they can keep up with. Sorry, that's where we're going. They gave him the 100% so he could keep up with the marksman because they knew he was going to potentially get harassed out of lane. But the shield is too strong for him to be harassed out of lane, and he was snowballing too quickly off of the minions that he was last hitting, thus gaining a level or two, sometimes 2 or 3 advantage over the enemy ADC, and then having dragon control on top of that. So they're trying to level that out without removing power from his kit.
Has him getting shoved out by an ADC been an issue since his release? I haven't played him since the new changes, but I've seen a lot of success out of people who put the time into learning the new Mordekaiser. speaking about, like, I think Phil was in the game the other day. We were doing, he was doing extremely well, and it was very early in the game, and he was just laughing. He's like, this champion is so easy.
He doesn't get shoved out because his shield is broken. And also because people play him with an aggressive support, Leona, Nautilus.
Which is normally keeping people back anyway.
Right. So he just lats hits, gains the extra experience, has dragon control. The way to play around Mordekaiser is to have it's the jungler's job to play around Mordekaiser. It's not the bottom lane's job. It's the jungle's job to pay attention to what wards are being dropped and paying attention to where they're at. Because as a jungler, you can pay attention where somebody walks up and drops a ward, right? And the jungler needs to come around and gank the Mordekaiser, which he can die, be pre-level 6, if his cooldowns are on cooldown. You know, again, it's the jungler to pay attention to what bottom lane is going on and turn it around. I'm sorry I'm putting that on you, but that's really what it is.
Because Mordekaiser is going to push.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So,
and he's not
overextended. Good gank target.
Now, what was it? Blue side or red? He has the advantage on red side. Was that what? Or blue side? Which one was it? He has the advantage on blue side, right?
People say it's easier to get ganked on red side. I don't always believe that.
Well, it's
I don't believe that.
Blue side, you can walk around through the bush,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
so you can gank.
Yeah, that's why I feel like blue side is also dangerous, just because of that tri-bush.
Yeah,
I mean,
the tri-bush.
you've gotta ward the entrance, the top entrance to that jungle. Usually the mid lane or jungle does that. Otherwise, their mid lane roams through, comes through the tri-bush, and gets behind you.
And that I think that's what it is. It's easier to gank in certain ways. Once you get to a certain level where you can start diving that turret, I feel like it's easier to gank one side. And then when the matchup is a little more based on kind of being out in the lane, it's probably easier to just roll down through that bush and already be, you know, a quarter of the distance closer than you would have otherwise, just for being in there if they didn't have it warded.
Right. Well, that was the big change here. I wanted you guys to realize that you're not gaining as much experience as Mordekaiser when you're in a dual lane. However, when you are in a single lane, you are gaining 100% of the experience. Just, I mean, that should be obvious to say.
You're losing nothing.
And then Children of the Ghost, jungle monsters no longer ignore Mordekaiser's dragon. So
now they're gonna hit that thing instead of just standing there. I also want to say with the Mordekaiser update, his abilities look so much better than they ever have.
Yeah, they actually look nice and shiny.
Yeah, instead of being blocky stuff from a millennia ago.
Crazy what happens when you hire new artists and have them work on
or just
assets.
Get, you know, a better. You can actually do stuff because the technology's improved to be able to do it rather than what it was back in the day. It looks so much better.
Too bad he has pizza feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza feet.
Pizza feet still exist.
Pizza feet, never forget.
Tarek. Poor Tarek.
Let's talk about Riven.
All right. For Riven, they are increasing the cooldown of her ultimate. It is going from 110, 80, 50 to 130, 95, 60.
All right. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and every person that mains Riven is going to be like, go fuck yourself, Chira. They've needed to do this for a while.
Hooray!
Just because this champion is a high skill cap champion doesn't mean her ult should be back up any time that she basically shows up to lane.
Yeah. I mean, you could barely survive the Riven all in. Like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about that ult anymore.
So you back to get you back to get health. She backs to get health or keeps pushing and has, you know, an item to be able to get all that health back. We'll throw Hydra in, for example, BT, whatever you want to use. You end up getting, Riven gets all her health back while you're backed. You might buy, you might not. She might back, she might buy, she might not. Her ult's up again by the time you skirmish. What?
Yeah, no, nothing. It's just the way you were saying it. He could do this. She could do that. He could do this. She could
do anything. That ult was going to be up.
That ultimate's up every team fight, too.
Yeah.
When you give somebody, like, Nocturne, where you have reduced his, I mean, they've changed it, but they reduced his global ult size down to that of like the Baron Pit and put it on a 210-second cooldown, and it's potentially as game changing as Blade of the Exile, even out of the, you know, even in a solo lane. It's ridiculous that Riven has had this much hidden power forever. Now, to put that into perspective, she is an extremely high skill cap champion where there is no low. How'd you put it last week, Chira? Low ceiling.
There's no low skill ceiling. It's you need to have some. You have to have good mechanics to do well, and you
have
need to
have
really,
amazing game, I guess.
really understand the champion to do well. The skill ceiling is high, and the skill cap is very high. So like you have to come into this champion. It's sort of how Vayne is. If you jump right on Vayne and you're expecting to be a great AD carry, and then Punch is playing against you on Caitlyn, you're going to get shit on, really, really bad. And that's even if like you can play Vayne really, really well. Now let's say that you're ridiculous, amazing at Vayne, and you know how to work around some certain things. Yeah, you're still going to be at a disadvantage, but you'll get to a point where it's like, okay, I feel like double lift. I'm just going to go do my thing as Vayne and murder anyone in a 1v1 as long as I've been able to farm a little bit. I'm very, as cool as it is to get a giant sword on a 50-second cooldown, and even though it's only
With
a
an
10-second
execute?
difference. Yeah, well, that's exactly it. You get a 50-second execute that not only gives you a 50-second execute, but almost doubles your AD. What? And it's a 50-second cooldown. Yes, they've only tacked on 10 seconds to this. If they tacked on another 20 seconds to this, I wouldn't hate. Like, an extra 20 seconds onto the change that they just made, I wouldn't even be upset at that.
Yeah, I don't think
and I like to play Riven.
I don't think the 60 seconds. I mean, I'm more happy about the rank 1 change,
Right?
Just because every time in lane you want to do something to Riven, she's got her ult up.
Yeah,
I don't think the
can't.
late game.
You can't because of fear of that ult, unless you just happen to get like 2 to 3 kills on her early, and then it doesn't matter. You could
Unless she
fight her.
completely wastes it.
Yeah, you could fight her if you were blind. It wouldn't be a problem at that point. But the ult is something that you always had to respect, because if you didn't and she was able to get a kill on you, that would shift the entire lane.
Hey guys, yeah. Let's talk about Veigar, shall we?
Yes.
Yep. Veigar, my little mid laner. I love Veigar. His Q and W base damage are down. From the looks of it, it is about 10 early. So it's going from 80, 125, 170.
It goes
215.
10, it goes 10, 15, 20,
Yeah.
30, or 25, 30.
So late game, his base damage is a bit lower.
Okay. But all right, so they nerfed the base damage on this, but they didn't nerf the scaling if you're killing things with Q. So what? How much AP free AP does he get per minion kill with Q right now?
1 point.
Okay, so you have to
And
kill
then-
30
well,
minions
actually-
with Q to offset.
The way it works is
Goes up the more you put points into it, correct? Right, that's how-
not on minions. You only get 1 per minion, but if you kill somebody, or get, I don't think it's assist. As long as you're killing somebody or killing another champion, you get however many, depending on how many points you have in Q. So if you have 4 in it, you're gonna get 4 AP. If you have 5, you'll get 5.
Okay, so ultimately, if you're just farming minions with your Q, you need to kill 30 minions.
Well, you only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on champion kills and assists. It's not like you're killing minions and getting.
Well, passive Veigar gains bonus ability power for each champion killer assist, but if you kill a large minion, you get 2 ability power. If you kill a regular minion, you get 1 ability power.
And it
So you
goes
either
through, and you can get 2 little minions now, etc.
Right. So you either need to kill 30 little minions or 15 cannon minions, or a mix of whatever the math you want to work out to do it in order to make up for these changes.
I mean, it's still a significant nerf, though. That's
right.
You know,
in early damage, that is big.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you can't say it's late because he has his R, which is going to blow up any person it hits anyway, and he has his stun through so much utility that when he lands it, obviously it's utility. It's going to change the game fight, but team fight. But dark matter also got to change. It was 120, 170, 220, 270, 320. It is now 100, 150, 200, 250, 300 as a 20 damage across the board reduction. The amount of damage they're removing from Veigar's kit between the Q and the W, you're missing out on 40 damage with a rotation. That's life or death.
Right.
Well, I think he's, because of how much damage his ult does, he can still one cycle whoever he wants.
Right.
But
I mean, his ult is still one-shotting certain individuals.
Right. But if you're playing a squishy champion like his opponent in mid lane, if you're a caster or if you're playing a marksman, he could just kill you with Q and W if you wanted to. And maybe he can't do that anymore.
So you're telling me you have a little bit more chance against Vagar? I don't know. He still has his E. As long as he has his E available, and it's something that we've said from the very beginning when he got reworked, as long as that E is available in the stun, you are going to zone people out of minions.
Yeah,
and you're going to zone
if you're
somebody.
squishing, you get stunned, you're still dead.
When was the
maybe
last...
you won't immediately die from a Q.
Oh, but when the R hits you.
All right, so
Right.
now the last Vygar change that occurred was when they bumped the missile size up of his ultimate back in patch 5.13. And before that, the first change was back in 5.6. Is it funny to anybody else that the weekend after Vygar's played in competitive play at Worlds, we see damage nerfs to his 2 early abilities?
No. As soon as I saw the Vagar changes coming, I mean, they were coming in previous to Worlds. They were on the PBE notes, but they obviously saw something wrong with Vagar prior to Worlds that, knew that was going to be abused. So, yeah, removing early game power from Vagar, probably, ban worthy, probably not anymore because people can't abuse it.
Have you seen anybody banning Vygar though?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it at all.
I see lots of Vagar bans.
And even when I see it, like I always say this shit, but whenever somebody picks a champion like that, it's like, oh, I'm going to bank on my event horizon to stop people. I just pick a champion like Olaf and like, okay, cool, I don't care.
Of course you do, Olaf.
Yeah, like
well, why don't we talk about Zillion?
Vygar, Chira. I'm the lowly marksman.
Yeah, right. If I get hit, I'm dead.
and just get stunned and run away.
I died too fast. Doesn't matter.
All right, let's talk about Time in a Bottle, the new passive of Zillion, John.
All right, Zillion's getting a new passive called Time in a Bottle. It's got a pretty decent cooldown on it, but it's significantly cooler than his previous one. I'll give him that. He passively gains experience at a rate of 2.
No, he passively stores experience. Let's make sure
passively
we say
stores. Okay, sorry, I should. Yeah, he's not actually gaining experience. He's storing it in his passive, and once he has enough experience to level up a nearby ally, he can right-click on them, and it will use up his passive, and they will level up immediately.
He chucks Gatorade bottles full of experience.
Okay, so I did some math on this. This was assuming that you couldn't level up, just to kind of give you an idea of how quickly you can get to level 2 with Zillion. Assuming Zillion starts stacking at 0 seconds, so after 5 seconds you've stacked 2 experience. At 1 minute 55 seconds you have 46 experience stacked. Now, it takes 90 experience to get to level 2. Krugs give you solo, so that's 76 experience total with the 2 before you're there. So he needs an additional, what's that put him at? Doing my math, an additional 30 seconds to get enough experience to bump you up to the next level. So you could take Krugs and get to level 3 more quickly than the enemy bottom laner could storing the passive, assuming that you take the bottom. So this is going to force the bottom laners to take that early Gromp or Krug, or even, and this was assuming no experience change or exchange, right? I didn't factor in the 65.2%. If you give that to your AD carry and then you level him up to 3, you're going to get 3 significantly more quickly. We're talking 10, 15 seconds more quickly than the enemy is.
If that's the case, when we start seeing Zillion back in the game, the bottom lane's going to have to respect that, hey, if the Zillion knows what he's doing and the AD carry is on the same page as Zillion and the Zillion just bumps whoever up to level 3 and they just all in you, that's kind of cool that it gives him a way to kind of keep the identity of his previous passive, which was, hey, you get more experience just for me being around you, to, hey, we can actually, if we use this right, we can kind of cheese certain cool fights and they have to respect us for it.
I almost wonder if Zillion could level up the jungler instead. Like the jungler and Zillion could meet the jungler somewhere and level a jungler to 3 or 4 and allow the jungler to have a giant experience advantage over the enemy jungler just because of Zillion.
on a champion like Nocturne, even with his ult being reduced to what it is now, let's say Zillion walks out of lane for a second to go help Nocturne hit his level 6, like, 30 seconds, whatever, faster than the enemy laner. The bottom lane's not expecting something like that, and then you can get an interesting fight 3v2 bottom where Nocturne just shows up level 6, maybe a minute, 30 seconds quicker than he would typically be able to use something like that to gank, or hit level 11 so he gets more range on something like that. Even bump Zac up so that his slingshot goes farther. There are a lot of applications to this.
Well, what about
other
2v1s? 2v1s mean that
you could see that too.
In competitive play, if you're using support Zillion, for example, competitive play means 2v1s that your 2v1 is beginning farther ahead than the enemy 2v1 by 10 seconds. And in 10 seconds of competitive play is a lifetime.
Or you even see like a roaming Zillion show up and just help the mid laner finish his 6th level. Like you could do a lot of cool stuff with that. I don't know. I like that they're, with the more changes, with some of the Juggernaut changes, like they're really, really trying to give champions some unique identity. They're finally doing away, they already started doing away with the global, flat stat buffs from certain things. We saw the reduction in range of Zillion's passive in the past. Now that's dead and gone. They can keep throwing, he can keep giving experience to the person of his choice now, which is pretty sweet. But it puts the power in his hands and makes it a skill thing of knowing who to use it on, rather just, hey, you get more experience for being with your boy Zillion over here. All that said, I want to see like motivational gym Zillion skin where he just chucks water bottles like bombs, or throws a shitty Gatorade bottle of XP towards somebody and gives them a motivational quote. I would love that with these changes. It would be great to me. Right, please.
I love that idea.
Do you have any idea what the range on this is going to be? I mean, his old one was 1500.
I bet he'd have to be close to do it.
Yeah, there's no way this is global.
I know there. As I say, it's not. I know it's not global.
Hey, top laner.
Yeah, seriously. Talking about Riven, you just screw it. Give Riven enough to finish 6th if it's global, and then Fiora, anybody who can all in when they hit 6.
They're
Rumble hitting 6 early. Yeah,
or whatever.
It'd be crazy.
Time bomb has been had change in this patch too. We're going to need a bigger bomb. Bombs attached from edge to edge instead of center to center. Functionally remains the same, but should feel more predictable, so you can make the bombs explode one after each other. You drop the bomb on me. Bombs now attached to allies at a further distance when the bomb first lands, if there are no enemies near the bomb's landing area. Meaning you don't have to walk directly on the bomb to pick it up. You can walk on the outer edges to grab it.
The bomb jumps to you.
Yeah.
It's magnetic.
They magnetize the bombs. It works. I mean, if this happens,
hey, set us up the bomb.
Hey, look, this works out too. Mordekaiser getting more bonus XP. You see Zillion show up. Mordekaiser's back to the amount of XP that he was getting by just having Zillion there.
Oh,
and
fuck, right. Yeah, I know people are talking about that already.
All right, yep. I'm not surprised by that.
They're like, oh, more Zillion bottom lane. I'm like, nah, I'd rather play more with Blitzcrank or Leona or Nautilus or somebody like super aggro aggressive that requires no mana, specifically because mana potions are being removed from the game.
And can also zone to let him continue to farm.
You know what, Punch? When I read that about the preseason patches, I immediately thought of you and me because I buy a lot of mana potions, but that's because we both are the type of people that buy a lot of potions when we go back to base.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, I buy mana potions at 80 carries all the time.
I live on potions.
I play Sona a lot, so that really makes me just
very sad.
Oh, it hurts.
Very sad.
Dave will probably quit Sona for maybe 2 days.
2 days? You don't say!
What'll happen, she'll quit Sona, start to drop an LP a little bit, and then get to the end of the division and decide, fuck it, I'm going back to Sona, and then carrying back up.
It's preseason. I should experiment with other champions.
Yeah.
And then... Well, Sona's better than all those jumps.
Right,
I kind of want to play Master Yi top lane now. Huh.
Why not just Tryndamere?
I don't like Tryndamere.
Okay.
His animation still feels like shit.
Riot. His animation still The crit animation, cancel it halfway through, still doesn't do damage. You lied to me saying it was fixed.
Let's talk about scrying.
Go back and fix that right now.
Vision radius. I'm assuming this is some preparation for the preseason, where the vision radius of scrying orb went from 400 at level 9 to 550 at level 9. This change, most people kind of go, but I think this is in preparation for preseason.
It actually says.
Actually, it says it was a bug.
Yeah.
I still think it's in preparation for preseason though. Like that, getting ready with all the vision changes and everything. They're gonna call it a bug. I'm on to you, Riot. I know it wasn't actually a bug.
That's a pretty serious accusation, Adam.
Hey, I will say this right now, live on the air, because I know Riot listens to me. I've already contacted Riot. They've already told me, yes, we will be on for the preseason, and we just have to wait until after the PvE gets launched and we get some feedback. But Riot is coming on, and I will not stop until they come up to that. They live up to that promise. Eric, I'm looking at you. I know, buddy. We talked today. Yeah, as soon as the preseason stuff came out, within 5 minutes of the preseason stuff coming out, I emailed Riot and said, hey, we should come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah, does somebody want to talk about these? It'd be great.
That's what I'm doing at work during the day.
Yep.
All right. That's patch 5.21, guys. We took a tiny little patch and made it an hour.
Yeah, and I mean, they added a bunch of new skins, which is pretty cool. For the Halloween stuff, they look pretty great.
I'm gonna buy Zombie Nunu.
It looks good.
Even
all
though,
of them look good. The Pantheon one's pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna transition this into the end of the show topics, and it's something that I think everybody should stick around for either way. So, first of all, John, thank you so much for coming on the podcast tonight and taking care of the patch notes for us. I know I kind of put you on the spot to make you read it. So.
No, it's fine. I love it. I love being on the show. It's great.
You know what? That's actually really good to hear because after so we went to all mid, right? And you were supposed to be there. You're supposed to take care of it. We were talking to Stelany about it. And she let us know your situation, why you couldn't make it there. And while talking with Stelany, we decided that we wanted to bring you back on here as a thank you for bringing us and contacting us for all mid. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have even probably been contacted to be there. So it means a lot to us.
Yeah. Well, I remember this, and this was probably almost half a year ago when we were still like trying to put everything together, and she was telling me all about this stuff because this was also when I was first getting involved with All Mid, and she was talking about all these sponsors, and I'm thinking just like we should get the Trinity Force podcast to come to the event and do a live show. I thought it would have been the coolest thing ever, and you guys thought so too, which made me just like
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No. I was just gonna finish off there and just say it was a pleasure to have you guys on and get to coordinate with you guys. And I know I think I've mentioned this to you before. I know they're gonna want to have you back for future events, and I know me and Stelany are gonna want to have you guys involved with stuff with the MU Esports Club in the future. So I know definitely this has been great, and getting to be on the show is just been amazing for me just because I love listening to the show.
Well, we want the reason we did bring you on because of that, but we also brought you on because we're extending our thanks to you by we want to make you an honorary member of the Trinity Force podcast and the Trinity Force Network crew, and that's why we were initiating you tonight with reading the patch notes. So welcome to the family, buddy. You are officially a member of the Trinity Force Network.
Thanks. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna a quick story here. I started playing League of Legends actually about a week ago. It would have been 2 years. Yay!
Huh. Yeah, there you go.
So I have not been playing this game for as long as nearly anybody, but I know listening to you guys has been the biggest help for me. Going from level 1 to 30, and then now I'm sitting at silver 2. I think right now I'm still trying to make my way to gold here at the end of the season, but. You guys have been just so much help, just not just in getting me patch notes and that kind of stuff, but teaching me you know what, that guy who's being so rude to you in the game, he doesn't matter.
We had to trudge through a lot of learning curves getting to that point where we could tell people how to do that.
I was going to say the same thing. It took us a lot of time of growing individually before we made it to the point where we could grow.
I know
other people.
It took 90%
you guys
of the
being
time
able to share that. You guys being able to share that has I don't know, that's helped me so much. And then on top of that, things like, having different guests on the show to talk about things like, I think recently one of my favorites was probably the ranked fives teams. That was really special to me because I've got a couple of friends and we don't play it super regularly, but I do have a couple of friends that we all enjoy playing together regularly. And that was just kind of interesting for me because I was able to share the show with them and be like, hey guys, listen to this. This has some really great information. And it was really special to me. So thank you guys for just having me on the show and making me a part of the Trinity Force family.
Thank you, man. That's awesome to hear that.
Yeah.
We're actually worthwhile to some people.
Somebody out there likes us. Yeah, so that's awesome. Thank you, John, for coming on tonight. Thank you for being a part of this. And you are going to continue. Like I said, as being an honorary member, it doesn't mean you're working for me, which it actually does. But no.
I mean,
Adam would like to think everybody works.
No, John actually, he came to me before all this happened, which is nice because he asked to make our live stream look a little bit better and kind of add some like moving graphics to it. If you kind of look at the LCS where he brought it, I read your email today where you said if you look at the LCS, the background kind of moves of like the gear or whatever it is in the background moves, and he considered making some of that for us. So I'm really excited to see what you can put together and see how we can make this live stream look a little bit better.
Yeah, that's actually something that was something I was working with All Mid. I've actually our good friend Stellany. I've helped her several times with her, helping her get her stream, doing all sorts of fancy stuff. And then me personally, I've done a couple of really interesting things, and I am a interactive media studies major. So, so getting to work with that kind of stuff is like,
hey, here's something good with the Trinity Force Network is if you make something for us, you'll get a glowing review from me if you ever go to apply for a job. You can just write it down, Trinity Force Network, and put my number down. Yeah, just ask Sotir.
Yeah.
Recommendations are valuable.
Yeah, they are.
Let me tell you, within today's day and age, if you get a glowing recommendation from somebody,
helps out a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, I keep in touch with all of my professors, all of my teachers, anybody I work with, writing down their contact information, all that kind of stuff.
You're already doing way better than me, so.
God damn it, Chira. Wait, okay, so last announcement since this happening. November 7th, the Extra Life is going on. Chiro reminded me of that because his beard, he potentially may shave it on stream at the later of the evening between the 8 and 11 hours, I'm assuming. The post about that is going up. I said Wednesday. It'll go up Thursday or Friday. Sorry for the delay. We had to finalize some discussion. We are doing a 1v1 tournament. Bao from the network and either Pseudonaut or NK Inc. will be doing a 1v1 between 3 and 5 o'clock on November 7th. And you guys can donate $5, $10, $25 to make them do stupid shit. Like you can ban a champion or whatever.
Was around during the 8-bit salute with Operation Supply Drop and got to watch the goofy stuff that went on between teams for donations, it's going to be similar to that, but with two really high elo players going at it in a 1v1.
Yeah, we're doing that, and at between 8 and 11 o'clock, we are playing with Just Okay Gamers. We are doing a 5v5 against the Just Okay gaming community. And again, this isn't like the games where we did against the LCS run and stuff. These are fun games where we're still going to try to win, of course, but people can try to fuck us over by donating 10, 25, whatever, and tell us to do stupid shit. So some of us will be playing in that between 8 and 10 o'clock. Other than that, there'll be like a Dungeons & Dragons session going on. There'll be Diablo 3. You can go and pre-sign up. I think it is bit.ly. I don't remember what it is. Just go to our T4 subreddit. You'll find the URL if you want to pre-donate to our Extra Life campaign. We're trying to raise $3,000 this year. Please donate. Also, something else to add on that: if you donate to our Extra Life campaign at all, two things will happen. One, you'll get a special banner or button, whatever it is. What's it called?
Icon.
That's the word I'm looking for. You'll get a special icon on the subreddit. You'll also get a special icon on esportsq.com. They're the 1v1 site we're going to be running the 1v1 tournament through. You'll be a Extra Life donator icon on that website, and you will be entered in to win from Active Gear. They Chira got some of that stuff where you compression gear. They're giving away some of their compression gear during that event.
Oh, right. Sure, I think I still have that in my car.
Oh yeah, it felt. I don't know how that
I think
happened.
you lost it.
Yeah, I think it came out of my hoodie or something. But it's
I should
pretty
give that
sweet
to you on
stuff.
Saturday.
You should give that.
Yeah, I'm sorry if they're
speaking of
listening and if I said it wrong. But yeah, just hold on a second, Chira. Just let them. If you donate at all during that day, we don't know the amounts yet. I think it's gonna be a minimum of $10 donation to Extra Life. You'll be in the chance to win a piece of the compression gear.
It's pretty sweet.
So that's another incentive to donate to us. And plus, don't forget your job may match donations. So please ask your job about that. If you donate, say $100, your job will donate $100 as well. So please ask him about that. And speaking of this Saturday,
if you can make it to Columbus, Ohio, at 7 a.m., 7 a.m. bright and early, the doors open at the Gateway Film Center right near Ohio State's campus, basically on Ohio State's campus, where there's going to be a Worlds viewing event. Seating around 200 total seats. So if you can get there as soon as you can, come hang out. There should be a bunch of people there. We'll be watching the matches. I know we're going to be giving out some free RP. So come hang out, show up. I know myself will be there. Punch will be there. I'm pretty sure Badger and The Shock are going to be there. I don't know who all else from the
there's
network
going to be.
might show
I've
up.
already seen a ton of people already. I don't even know who else from the network, but I know a ton of other people are going to be there.
Yeah, so just come and hang out. It's going to be really, really great. This, I know we've said on probably the past 4 shows, but considering this is the last one you probably will hear with that update, just come Saturday morning, October 31st, Halloween, bright and early. Let's go watch the World's Finals, and there's actually, you can order a beer right there in the theater. So I'm planning
7 a.m.
I don't know about 7. I'm
Esports is on
because I will get started early. It'll be great.
I'll be up. I'll be up watching at home and cheering you guys on. I'm sure Chiro will be texting me the entire time.
Most likely. Oh, and if any of you have any issues, you can check out on the T4 subreddit. There's actually instructions on how to get there. We link the location of the center.
Yeah, it's tagged at the top. You can't.
Yeah, it's tagged on the top of the subreddit. Follow me on Twitter if you are trying to show up and you just for some reason can't figure out what's going on, how to get there, or anything like that, and I'll come outside and try and find you on the street if I have to. Just let me know.
One last update, if you guys don't mind before this ends, is that I'm starting a new YouTube series, and I've actually asked a ton of other people in the network to start it as well. It was just kind of on the whim. We were playing a game on Monday night. I had the greatest escape ever as Tristana, where it was honestly it was all pre-calculated while I was on. I was on a chat doing it.
He was on a phone call.
That should be the name of the series.
Yeah,
pre-calculated.
It should be. You're totally right. That's such a good idea. I love it. But so all I did was
calculations in hindsight.
I took a clip from the game and I let you watch it, and then I walked back through and I broke it down based on what I was thinking while it was happening and what I would have told you if this was a replay review. Now there was more of what this was thinking, because there's a part where I knew if I walked a step forward, I took a turret shot, I would make it out of the turret shot range if I rocket jump further. Now it's not something you'd think about in game. It's kind of like that hindsight, or that second, I don't know, what do you call it? What did we call it last week? You know what'll happen. We do it without thinking about it. I can't remember what
doing things
unconscious competency.
Yeah, there you go. You just know you walk forward. You're gonna take a turret shot. You'll make it out of the range if you do this. That type of thing, unconscious competency. But I walk you through it because there's a point even where I hit heal as soon as I see a flash over the wall. Things I didn't even think about until I watched the replay. I'm like, I did that? Holy shit!
Right.
But I walk you through my train of thought through this play so that you get an idea of we give you a lot of ideas on how to play this game, but with no practical application to it. And I want to give you the application that we're talking about so you can see what I mean when I say you need to do this kind of stutter step, or you know what I'm saying.
The clip that we're talking about too is pretty solid in that a lot of things go right for both teams and a lot of things go wrong for both teams in the same thing. So you get a pretty good mix of, all right, this is what happens when people do things right, when they do things wrong. I end up dying. I go too deep because there's a double teleport coming in. We can only see one teleport. Both people teleporting are in the fog of war. But as soon as Oriana comes down, she blows ult on just me when there's other people right next to each other that are grouped, and she probably could have swung a 4 for nothing rather than a 2 for 2, which is what it ultimately turned into. So
and
it's
also
pretty
shows a good
interesting.
application of like Punch using teleport at the right time because he realizes that he's paying attention to the map. Like the things we talk about, people are paying attention, they're teleporting, and the enemy team does a good job of that. But we're gonna be, enough talking about this clip. I'm gonna try to make more of those videos and try to make them a little more professional. I put that together literally in 10 minutes. I came home after picking up the kids. I said, "Kids, do the dishes and don't yell." And I came down here and I just talked because I was thinking about it.
Don't make noise.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's it. So guys, go check that out. That's youtube.com/TForce podcast. That's it. I think that's episode number 305 or 306 in the bags. John, thank you again for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
Are you sticking around to play games,
for...
or are you out of here?
I'll probably have to head out of here.
Okay,
that's unfortunate.
So sorry.
it's fine.
All right, just like everybody else
Lame.
who's gonna,
Next time,
head out of here and turn off the podcast until next week. We will see you. Peace.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.